Hey guys, Jim Ritter here, Managing Partner and Director of Acquisitions for Apollo Realty Investments. As you know, we're your go-to buyer for all those distressed houses you have out there. Today, we're joined by Michael Najar of the Keller Williams Real Estate Team. We're going to talk to Michael about how he's really been able to grow his business in the last 3 years. Started out in 12 deals, now he's going to do 80 this next year. So, really looking forward to it. And without further ado, here we go. All right, guys, so we're here with Michael Najar with the Keller Williams Real Estate Team. Mike, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
This interview is a little bit different than the past ones. All the real estate agents we've talked to before have been in the industry for well over 5 years. We brought Michael on because we've been working with him for the last 2 years now. You've been in the real estate for 3 years. You've absolutely crushed it. 13 deals your first year, 32 last year in 2015. For 2016, you're gunning for 80. As we all know, that's unheard of in the industry. You got to tell us how you're doing it.
Yeah, so thanks for having me, Jim. By the way, so I'm a big believer in goals. I actually write down all my goals, 3-4 months before the new year. So for 2015, I actually wrote that I was going to sell 30 homes last year, and we actually sold 32 homes last year. So we definitely exceeded our goal.
Two of those were to us.
And two of them were for
we helped you with 30.
So right above the goal. And, I look at my goals every single day. And it's one of those things where if you look at it every single day, it just has to come true, right?
Yeah. So Michael, maybe you can tell us a little bit about, some of the background of yourself. Who is Michael Najar?
Yeah, so I've always been an entrepreneur. And, back in 2003, I was actually studying computer science at San Diego State. And at that time, I figured that I was more involved in a business background just because I've been, self-employed majority of my career. And I actually started studying for my real estate license back in 2004, and I finished my principles and practice, but I never registered for the state exam.
Yeah.
And at that time, I actually opened up another business, which I was selling Verizon Wireless in the malls. Yeah. So I ran that business for 4 years. It was very successful. And after I got out of that business, I thought I would dip into real estate again, but something got me right off track, and I actually got into another business. And I was I started another business. I went to a trade show in Las Vegas, and I opened up an international business, import-export from China. Started importing restaurant equipment, and my product was actually in all 50 states and Mexico and Canada. So that kept me pretty busy. I ran that business for about 8 years. And then I finally said, okay, you know what? I went back to college, went back to San Diego State, graduated in 2012 with a degree of marketing. And then that's when I knew that it's time to actually get into real estate because my business was pretty much on autopilot. It was running, by itself. Yeah. I was shipping the products early in the morning. And that's when I actually got into real estate, studied for my real estate exam in 2012, and I got my license in around 2013. So I actually got into the business in 2013, and
the rest is history.
And the rest is history. Yeah, I just my first year in the business, like you said, I did sell 13 homes. I really didn't know what I was doing. I didn't even know that 13 transactions was actually good. And then I looked at the stats that the average real estate agent in San Diego sells between 3 to 4 homes a year. So
you were already a cut above.
Yeah, I was already a cut above. So,
well, and sorry to cut you off. I mean, one thing we often ask in these interviews is was there a major aha moment for you? Maybe it was just before you got into real estate, or maybe it was after that when you did the 13 deals in that first year. I mean, what was that major aha moment where you said, "This is me. I'm not doing anything else because I can do."
No, I think my biggest aha moment was my first year in the business. I actually went to Keller Williams Mega Agent Camp in Austin, Texas. They have it every year. And I actually got to watch a panel of agents nationwide with Keller Williams that are selling 200, 300, 600 homes a year. And I'm here I'm that agent with that fly on the wall that's selling 13 homes a year. And I knew there was a lot of potential in this business. And I knew I was going into this business as an entrepreneur, not just as a real estate agent. So my biggest focus is once I went to Mega Agent Camp that I would actually start my own team and get to the point where one day I would be one of those panelists with Gary Keller at Mega Agent Camp and selling 200-300 homes a year or more.
Yeah.
But with that, of course, you need leverage.
Yeah.
So that was my biggest aha, that there's a lot of potential in this business. And plus, there's around over 180 homes that sell every single day in San Diego County. So there's definitely a lot of market share out there.
You just got to get your piece of it. Another thing we like to ask is, and we see this as a common theme in all the agents we talk to, not just in the interview series, but when I'm talking to agents on the phone, I mean, we're a big proponent of books, and we're always hungry for more knowledge. Are there any books that you've read that really are what, books that have really just helped you in the industry?
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of books I love reading, especially any book that's real estate related.
Yeah.
The first book, I mean, I've read The Millionaire Real Estate Agent so many
we
times.
all have.
I have pages
You should,
falling
if you
out.
haven't.
It's an amazing book, and the fact that I'm looking to build a team, I'm following, the budget model, the organizational model, and then Millionaire Real Estate Agent. So I'm pretty much following. It's your own model right there in front of you. So I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm following the Keller Williams model. So I love The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. Another book that I've been reading is The Champion Real Estate Team by Dirk Zeller. And that's an amazing book because it's kind of broken down on, your first hire, there's a 100-day action plan. So that's another book that I've read multiple times, and I'm going through it again right now. And the book that I think majority of agents have possibly read is Think and Grow Rich. It's an amazing book by Napoleon Hill. It's a really easy book to read. I'm always going through that. And I actually watch a lot of YouTube videos of other agents that are really successful in the industry nationwide. So I'm always trying to educate myself on what's out there, new technology. Scripts are very, very important for me. And just being the best for my clients.
Yeah. One, I struggle with this sometimes. We're all trying to just put in as many hours as we can each day, but sometimes you just get that feeling like you're dragged down a little bit, or it was a tough week, it was a slow week. Like we talked about, I mean, you have been growing exponentially each year, but have you had in that 3-year period, has there been at some point where it was just you felt down or you were having a hard time getting through that month? Or maybe it was right before you got into real estate. I mean, maybe walk us through some challenges that you've had over the last couple of years.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, the first 4 months when I got my real estate license, I really didn't know what I was doing. And I think that's the biggest problem new agents have, is they get their real estate license, they really don't know what to do. So I was one of those agents that was walking in the office, just getting coffee, talking to everyone, asking everyone how their weekend was.
Be careful with that. If you walk around the office, you can waste a lot of time talking.
Yeah, I wasted only 4 months, but and all of a sudden it's 5 o'clock, it's time to go home, and I'm like, I didn't accomplish anything. So my biggest aha was Keller Williams is a very open book company, so I figured out, okay, what the top agent's doing in our office and how do I get to that point. So my biggest goal is to not just be the top agent in our office, but be one of the top agents in San Diego, not just for myself, but also for my clients. I think that will leverage myself to help more clients, whether it's buyers or sellers, if I'm really well known in the community. That was my biggest aha. So the first 4 months, I wasn't producing anything. And then I just went back to the Keller Williams model, which is generate leads. You got to generate leads first. There's the 3 L's. There's leads, listings, and leverage. So I figured out how to generate leads. I believe I've almost mastered that. I'm getting listings. Around close to 70% of my business is listings. And that's going to go to our next question about managing time, because working with sellers, I can definitely manage my time.
Yeah, and let's dive into that a little bit. We're always a huge proponent here at Apollo of leveraging your time as a real estate agent. Do what you're best at. You recently hired an assistant. Congratulations. That's gonna give you so much more time to build your business. So tell us how you got there. Yeah. And how, and I think it was just yesterday actually you hired your assistant.
Yeah, so my assistant just started yesterday. Today's her second day on the job, so I'm really excited. So that's the third L, right? That's the leverage. Yeah. We have the leads, the listings. Now I'm leveraging my time, and the assistant's going to allow me to leverage my time to work with more buyers and sellers, and then it's also going to deliver better customer service, because I can do probably 50 or 60 transactions a year without an assistant, but then I'm going to sacrifice customer service. So I wanted to make sure that the customer service level did not change as my numbers grew. So I talked to a lot of top agents nationwide with Keller Williams and other agents as well. And I asked them, when is it a good time to hire an assistant? And they all had the same response: when you're too busy to generate more business, or you're too busy to follow up with your leads. And average agent said when you're doing between 30 to 40 transactions, that's when you get to the point where you've hit your ceiling and generating your leads, your follow-up. So that's the time that you need to actually hire leverage.
Yeah.
So when I hit 32 transactions, I said, you know what, it's better to get prepared now and start 2016 right and adding that leverage. And if I'm going to hit my goal of 80 transactions this year, I definitely need to leverage my time.
Yeah. We both have families. That ties into leveraging time. There's only 24 hours in a day.
Yes.
I've got an 8-year-old at home, so I mean, it's tough. You've got a family. Yep. How do you balance that? I mean, can't be easy. But.
No, and actually I've made it easy, right? So I have a 2-year-old son, and then my wife is actually 6 months pregnant. So
wow,
thank you. So we're having a girl. So that's going to be a handsful right there.
And I have an 8-year-old daughter at home.
Yeah. So you're already in my shoes. So, but I love to spend time with my family. So I think the good thing is we're all equal on time. I actually treat this as a business. I don't treat it like as if I'm an independent contractor, because that's what we are. We're independent contractors. We don't have a specific time to come in and clock out. So I actually time block my day. I leverage my time heavily. So from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m., even right before I came to this interview, I was actually prospecting for business. And that's how I can generate the leads that lead up to listings where I can leverage my time. So I actually time block my schedule from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, and I rarely work on weekends. If I work on a weekend, it's probably a Saturday morning. I'm showing buyers property. So I pretty much have the weekend for my family, and I'm home by like 6:15 every single day. So, I'm not in the office till 8, 9 o'clock because there's no reason for me to be there.
Yeah.
If I'm doing all the important tasks early in the morning, which is generating leads and talking to buyers and sellers, there's no reason for me to be doing business at 8, 9 o'clock or working on a Sunday.
Yeah, it affects the family.
It affects the family, and my clients understand that. They understand what my schedule is, and I'm always there. I mean, if someone needs to call me on a Sunday, of course I'm going to pick up the phone. But they understand because the communication is so well Monday through Friday. I answer all their questions before the weekend even comes up.
Nice.
So I haven't had a problem with doing 32 transactions. I don't think I've worked on a Sunday at all.
All right, so you've mentioned the 3 L's that Keller Williams really pushes. We're talking leads, listings, and leverage. We've hit leverage. Maybe walk us through the lead aspect of that.
Yeah, so I do business a little bit differently than most agents. A lot of agents are focused on, let's call it expires and for sale by owners. They're fast, immediate business. I didn't build my business through that. I actually did circle prospecting, and the good thing about that is no one else is calling them. So I would pick just a random neighborhood. It could be any agent's listing that just sold. It doesn't even have to be mine. Of course, I'll call mine first. When that's done, I'll go back into the MLS hot sheets and just pull up a random listing. So what I'll do is I'll call, maybe 100 homes around that home and say, hey, a home just sold in this neighborhood. We know when one home sells, usually 2 more sell right away. So when do you plan on moving? And, since I'm prospecting for around 3 hours a day, I'm making around 45 to 60 contacts, actually people picking up the phone, having a conversation with them. And out of those 60 contacts, around 1 or 2 of them per day will say, well, we're thinking about selling. And I consider a lead anyone that wants to buy or sell in a year or less. Some agents have, a different definition of a lead. It could be someone that wants to buy or sell in 90 days. I say a year or less because I've noticed the clients that say, well, in about a year, they end up selling in 6 months.
Okay.
So I always usually cut that time in half with follow-up. So that's how I built my business, is just talking to strangers.
But I'm sure some of them take longer. Well, in fact, we had one on links that we did with you in Mira Mesa recently. I think that one took over a year.
Yeah, it was actually 13 months.
quite a bit of work on that one. I know you brought us in there, and it just needed a ton of work, but we closed cash quickly. But talking about leads, 13 months.
Yeah,
How many times you had to have called her, literally talked to them on the phone?
Yes.
Over dozens.
So I have a really good system down. So I'm actually also calling them, sending them emails of valuable information. And by the time she actually called me and said, "Hey, Mike, I'm ready to list." And it's because I was that agent that was top of mind, that was always in touch with her, that was always provided her with valuable information. And I went back into my notes and actually reached out to her 7 times in those 13 months. And she actually called me and said, "Okay, I'm ready to get my home on the market and get it sold." So yeah, it's just about being consistent. Over 70% of my business comes from lead follow-up. So I'm just pretty much just nurturing that lead, getting it ready for that time, because not everyone wants to sell as soon as you pick up the phone and give them a call. Everyone has different situations, and my job is to listen to what their time frame is, where do they want to move to when they sell, and then just be there when the time comes. And no one else is doing that.
And then on that Lynx one that we just did together, we closed escrow on that, rehabbed it in about 3.5 weeks, put it back on the market. You sold it for us. We're in escrow right now.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah, thank you.
Much appreciated.
So that was on the market, and it was on the market during Christmas time, where most agents actually go on vacation.
Yeah, you didn't go on vacation.
No. December, and December was actually my busiest month.
Really?
Out of the 32 transactions, 10 of them came in December.
Nice.
And it was just
fourth quarter.
It was big. Fourth quarter really did really well, and it's just all those leads in the pipeline, right? So some of them were leads that I got 6 months ago or a year ago, and like I said, majority of my leads are listings. I do get a lot of buyer leads from my sphere, of course, and from my listings, but my main focus is helping sellers, of course.
Yeah. Was there anything else you want to share with the viewers before we take off?
Yeah, I mean, if you really want to excel in this business, and then, not to be Kellerized, but Gary Keller mentions this a lot every time I go to like mega agent camp or family reunion. It's mastering repetitious boredom. I mean, there's days I come in the office and I don't want to get on the phone. And I have a board in front of me that shows
mastering repetitious
boredom. Yeah. So once you get to the point where you've mastered repetitious boredom and it feels like every day in and out you're doing the same thing, that's when you've mastered it. But you have to do it consistently. So you can't say I'm going to generate leads, for the first week, and all of a sudden the following week you just completely stop it. You have to be persistent. I haven't missed a day of lead generating. Last week, like I told you, I had the crazy stomach flu, and I was still in there lead generating. Good thing I wasn't throwing up on the phone, but you just got to be persistent. You got to master that repetitious boredom, and you'll see results. It's just like with anything in life, whether going to the gym, you can't try it for a week and then back out. If you really want to achieve your goals, you just have to do that.
You got to power through it.
You just got to power through it.
All right, so another thing we talk to a lot of agents about is the listing appointments. Oftentimes, as an agent, you're out there competing with 4 or 5 other agents. How do you stand out? I mean, 32 deals last year. I mean, how did you get that business? What do you do that makes you stand out?
Well, the good thing is I'm actually not being a runner-up, right? So I'm actually the only agent that they're interviewing, because since I'm circle prospecting, I'm the only one that's calling them. I'm the only one that's
Let me tell us a little bit about circle prospecting, in case not everyone out there knows what that is.
Yeah. So circle prospecting is pretty much I'll take a random property that just sold in San Diego and call everyone around it, and see if anyone in that area wants to sell. So majority of agents are not reaching out to them. They're probably reaching out to them by direct mail, but a lot of direct mail gets thrown in the trash. Nothing's better than either face-to-face or on the phone communication with them. And I'm continuously trying to set appointments with them to actually take a look at their property, price it out, kind of see what their motive is, what their time frame. And when I'm actually going on the interview, they're not really interviewing any other agents after me. So that really helps, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, I have a really aggressive marketing plan. Most agents will take pictures with their camera phone, put it on the MLS and put a for sale sign, and then they start praying that it sells. We actually have a really aggressive social media marketing plan that we do on Facebook and LinkedIn and Google+. And we actually spend money on marketing. We also spend a lot of money on Google AdWords to generate buyer leads to our website. We always take professional photography on our listings, because close to 50% of buyers are actually finding their property online before they even get in their car and make an appointment to see the inside. So it's very, very crucial that it shows well on the internet. I mean, it's 2016, everyone's technology based now, everyone's on their smartphone looking at property. we want results quick. We don't want to look at a picture and it's dark and someone took it with their camera phone, and then it defeats the purpose of them setting an appointment to see the inside. So with our aggressive marketing plan and prospecting, so once we get a listing on the market, I'm actually prospecting, calling everyone in my database that's looking in that price point. I'm also calling everyone in that neighborhood, letting them know of a listing that we just got active on the market, if they know any friends or family that are looking to buy or sell in that area. And we just sold a property off of Serra Mesa, where I actually called one of the neighbors that was 2 doors down before we even put the for sale sign up. And they were a military family, and they said, hey, one of our friends really wants to live on this street. And they bought the home before it even went on the market.
Family together on the same street.
And they bought it for full price before it went on the market. Very smooth transaction. We just closed a couple of weeks ago. So a lot of agents won't do that. So that's what sets me apart from most agents, is we go above and beyond to get the property sold. We don't just put it on the market and forget about it. So we do a lot of, prospecting on the phone, internet presence, professional photography, and then also customer service. It's always good to stay in touch with the sellers that we're working with. We do a weekly follow-up call every single week. We get showing feedback on every single showing, which is very, very important. I had a property in Santee that wasn't selling because they thought the living room was too small.
Yeah.
But the lady had 2 sectional couches, and we had to remove one of the sectional. We got an offer the following week.
Yeah.
So it's always good to get showing feedback from agents, and we deliver that to the seller as well.
Nice. So Michael, maybe tell us a little bit about your motivation. How do you keep going each day and just crushing it out there?
Yeah, my biggest motivation is just seeing how good I can do, right? Be the best I can be. And my biggest goal is to actually have team members join my team and become really successful, because I believe if they accomplish their goals, I'm automatically going to accomplish all my goals. So that's my biggest focus right now, is building my team, hitting our numbers. And it's not just about hitting numbers, but also helping buyers and sellers, because that's the most amazing thing when we close escrow and we get that email or that phone call that we're confirmed on a closing, and I'm calling the buyer and seller and congratulating them, and they just love the experience. And that's how I know I'm delivering great customer service, because they're thanking me, they're going on Zillow, they're reviewing me. And that's the biggest thing, is I love that feeling of helping people buy and sell.
Yeah.
And I was always on that side of the transaction before I got into real estate. I bought a few properties, and I always wanted to be on the opposite side and be the real estate agent, because it felt good. It feels good when you're a buyer buying especially if it's your first home, or even if you're an investor, because it's the next step of investing in your business. So I just love my job, and I think that's the main reason why I excel in it, because I love what I do. It's not just coming in, selling a few homes, and going home for the end of the day. I love what I do.
Yeah, we see that too in our business. We sell a home, we'll get an email back from the buyer's agent with a photo of the family and thank you so much for this amazingly renovated home. Thank you. We're going to live here for years, and it does really help keep you going, and just knowing that you're doing good out there.
Yeah, because there's a lot of families out there that need to buy or sell.
Yeah.
And it hurts me when I see them working with an agent that I don't think would be a good fit for them.
Well, Michael Nager, thank you very much for coming on. Much appreciated. To everyone out there, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.